There you go. Hello.
Hello.
You're sitting outside. I almost did, but the neighbors are having a picnic.
That sounds like fun.
It it does sound nice.
I'm sure we'll have some loud plane go over at some point.
Yeah, that's what your mute button's for.
Or that's what your muting me button is for.
Right? I suppose now I have to manage this. I will see how this works out managing it from my McAllister account. Should be good. Oh boy.
Was he being an airplane? Or was that a he and all?
Hey, Tark. Off at she's at another friend's for dinner, and I've got another meeting on the computer. Are you gonna be around tomorrow? You wanna say hi? Do you wanna say hi to these people?
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, let's. There you go.
I heard him.
Hi.
Hello.
That's good. Helen will be here tomorrow to play, but when she gets back, it'll be bedtime.
We are around.
You're around tomorrow?
I think so.
Okay. Go,
Not
man.
got hurt.
High five. Bye. Tomorrow.
Bye
Bye.
He did hear what you were saying. See you, Tark. Can you make sure that door shuts? All right.
Was that just a random neighborhood kid?
Yeah, basically.
That's awesome.
He saw me come home, and so he's looking for my daughter. They're hangout buds. Hey, people are showing up. Marcus is here. Patrick is here.
David is here, because I can't say his other name.
Jingren, are you here? You're on mute.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yep,
Now
we
I can hear you.
hear you.
Okay, cool. I don't have a webcam on this computer actually, so
That's no problem. I don't have all my normal setups set up on this account. Chat. Here we go. Dan, do you have a link to the doc?
I'm looking for it.
There it is,
Why is
agenda
there so
doc.
many- Oh, it's the alphabetical order. That would be why I can't find it.
I posted over here. And
When did we make this doc?
a couple weeks ago when we started it.
Yeah, I'm going to the recents because I was clearly in it recently.
I posted it in the
I found it.
Hangout chat too. Two viewers. We have two people just viewing.
If you're viewing, message one of us.
Yeah, chat with Dan to get the link. Oh, awesome. All right. Well, my second computer screen isn't going to
Even
work.
if you're not part of this and you're just viewing, I kind of want to know who you are.
I know, right?
So message me.
Well, so we might have up to 6 folks. We've got 3 folks. Twin Cities representing, of course.
I know Kyle said he should be here because his girlfriend had to go out with the girls for dinner.
Nice. Well, let's see. What do we do to pass the time? Let's see. What's that?
Oh, I was going to say we could take a second to plug Marcus's app, FitHub. If you don't have it yet, you should try it out.
I'm saying.
I still haven't tried it out. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry, Marcus.
Totally worth it.
That's no problem, Dan.
How's the?
Did you just like turn off a monitor there, Marcus?
Yes, I did.
Here. So what's in the vertical? What do you use the big vertical one for?
Oh, code.
Yeah.
They're great for long files.
Haven't you tried a vertical screen, Dan?
No, I did. Well, I guess I call that portrait mode on the surface.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's pretty nice to be able to look at 100+ lines of code on just one screen.
Yeah, that's pretty much how Martin operates all the time, which makes no sense to me.
In just portrait mode the whole time? So how's the app going, Marcus?
It's going good. I'm rewriting most of it to have a better structure, but it's going good.
How many people have downloaded it?
I think not many, less than my other ones, but
That's actually surprising. You'd think Google would have been promoting it more.
yeah, the promotion was not very many for the Fit Challenge. I think so. 9,000 downloads and 4,000 active users.
I found someone watching. Ollie was one of the viewers.
Ollie was just viewing?
Can't get to the PC. So
Stinker.
hello, Ollie.
We're down only to one viewer, so maybe it is just Ollie hanging out, and the rest was someone's just a passerby. So, is it Jingren? We haven't met. I don't know how you pronounce your name.
You've met him.
I have met him.
Yeah, I'm David from Ann Arbor.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We did meet. We're at the North America. Was that a February or March summit?
The community summit, yeah.
Let's be honest, it was the North America one.
Yeah.
And you go by David or Dave?
David with
the D.
With the D, yeah. It's interesting because like there are a bunch of people named David around here, so like some of them like to go by Dave, some of them David, and yeah.
I just left my friend David's house. Of course, spelled like David. So
right.
I'm familiar with all the differences. We have another Patrick, two Patricks.
I think I was the viewer that you're talking about just a second ago.
All right. Hi, Patrick.
Thanks for the link, Marcus.
No problem.
So Patrick, have we met?
I don't believe so.
All right. Where are you coming from?
Cincinnati. So I just took over for Bill Moat.
Okay.
Oh, sweet. Well, it's only 5 after.
Apparently Kyle's watching.
I suppose I could post that in the Midwest community.
Well, let me see if he needs a link or not.
All right.
I can send it to him. So let's just continue. Let's just start it.
We get started? Sweet.
Yeah.
This may or may not be recording. I'm not. It didn't give me the option to start recording, so
It says live. It's recording.
I'll presume. All right, it's recording. So it'll include like 5 minutes at the beginning of me chasing my cat out of the room and pouring my drink and whatever.
I am gonna find this video.
It's pretty fun. All right, so I posted a link to the agenda in the chat there. We don't have a really strict agenda, but we could probably go around in a circle and introduce ourselves. If somebody has the same order I do or not. I'll start with me. I'm Lloyd Cledwin, one of the mentor organizers. I'm the founding co-organizer of GDG Twin Cities. We've been running our GDG since 2009, I think. Primarily in Minneapolis. We have our membership has grown. Are we past 900 yet, Patrick?
That sounds about right, yeah.
I think we're just over 900. Meet monthly, probably around 50 or so regular monthly attendees. I bounce back and forth between Android and other stuff. Dan, how about you go next?
All right. So I run 2 GDGs right now. I help run GDG Schaumburg, and I do GDG Chicago as well. So I feel like it's a full-time job at this point. Chicago, I just started their meetup page 4 months ago to the day, I think, and we're at a little over 800 members.
Nice.
Schaumburg has been around for like 3 years almost, and we're at about 500 members.
Uh-huh.
So it's amazing how big of a difference 30 miles can make. So yeah, I've been doing this for like 3 years. I'm one of your Midwest mentors, and I have every mode of transportation going on in the background, so I'm muting myself.
Sweet. All right, how about David?
Hi, I'm David Wong. I help out with Ann Arbor Android. I think we started out way back when we were still like technical user groups or something.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, we just I guess not just, but we did like a dev fest back in like March or something. April, May. It was probably May.
Uh-huh.
But
It
yeah.
was Mother's Day weekend, wasn't it? May 9th?
Yeah. So, yep. We have, I think, like a few hundred on our meetup, and like weekly, not weekly, sorry, like monthly, we get maybe like 20 or so. And yeah, we tried the study jam too, but yeah, didn't get a lot of people at the study jam.
Did it not get traction, or did you have
I think we didn't do enough work like advertising or something. Like we tried to set up like support groups, but I think it was also like the pacing was way too fast for our audience. So
Sure. Did anybody make it through to the end?
we didn't have anyone make it past like the 4th week. So
Oh, interesting. Okay.
yeah.
Huh. Do you have any, well, maybe we'll circle back around to that.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have that many people. We'll digress briefly. Do you have any thoughts or feedback around the study jams?
I do think like the nano degrees they're doing now are like probably a better idea. The like fundamentals required people to like have quite a few years of experience and familiarity with Java and stuff, and a lot of attendees weren't prepared for that kind of like I guess prerequisites. So
Really? Oh, okay.
yeah. So yeah, the beginning nano degree is probably like really good for them.
And did you, how many people did you say started?
We actually had like 11 or 12 people begin like on day one in like the first and second meetups.
Yeah.
And then, excuse me, sorry. Sorry, and then yeah, we ended up having 2 people who weren't like directly involved with the GDG keep coming every week. And that was mostly like we did like the review slides. So all of our like later meetups were just let's go through the slides, let's like take the quiz at the end and just basically talk about Android development instead of like actually going through all the content.
And did they like that structure? Is that something you would
Yeah.
repeat or try and lean on more?
Yeah, that was something that I guess like even though they didn't have I guess sufficient Android or development experience, it's still like logically stuff that they could wrap their head around. Um, so like things like activity life cycle, things like that, like those things you can kind of understand even though you don't know, right, like how to call a super function or something.
Sure. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Um, so Marcus, you want to introduce yourself? Can you unmute yourself? I muted you. You had it was a little noisy in the background.
Yeah, that's why I moved. I'm Marcus. I'm from GDG Stillwater, Oklahoma. My GDG is, I think it's fairly new and small. We started in 2013, I believe, and our usually meetups is about 15 to 20 people max, and except the events like the Polymer or the Dart event that we got about 40 to 50 members. In those ones. And my GDG is a little different than most because we run inside the university. So pretty much 99% of our members are college students. And we did the study jams also, and only 2 finished.
How many finished?
2.
2. Oh, okay. I thought you said 42. Like,
No,
wow,
2.
that's awesome.
No.
All right.
I started with 30 interested, but then when they explained me what the study jams would be and that would require a significant workload,
Right.
only 12 showed up the next meeting for the study jams, and out of those 12, just 2 finished.
Sure.
8 carried all the way. Like eight, like I had 8 constant members every study jam, but just 2 had they could finish it.
And what are you saying? What level is finishing? So they completed the Udacity course?
They completed the course and they made a sample app. They made an app, basically not very complete, but did almost all the requirements that they had. Like one or more screens, and did a network quest, and did all. They were able to follow almost all the requirements.
And did they get the Udacity certificate?
I gave to one of my members. I gave him the as each study jam got right 421 certificate. I gave it to him. I think if he didn't finish, he's about to finish it. I have to get back to him. Since it's summertime and we're not in school, it's
Right.
a little bit. I didn't ask him about it. But yes, I gave him the opportunity to get a certificate. I printed the little certificates that they gave us, the certificate of completion that Sarah gave us.
That reminds me, I have a pile of those sitting in my office that I need to mail off. But cool. Patrick, do you want to introduce yourself?
Patrick.
Patrick Fuentes.
Sure. Hi, I'm Patrick. I'm with GDG TC, Twin Cities with Lloyd, here in Minneapolis, St. Paul. I've only been at it for a year or so, so relatively new. I helped run the study jam, since it's a thing we're talking about here in the Twin Cities. We had pretty good enrollment. I feel like it was around 50 or something people that expressed interest at first, but like with everybody, things kind of trickled off a little bit. Other than that, I've already started very slowly working on stuff for our next Dev Fest, which we have around February or so. That tends to be a year-round effort. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Sweet. All right, Patrick, Cincinnati. Patrick, what did you say your last name was?
Hammond.
Hammond?
Yeah, Hammond, Hamm or Wendy. So yeah, I've been working with GDG Cincinnati for about 4 years now. Looking at our meetup page, we're at 340 members. Recently, we've had 20 to 25 people, coming out every month, pretty consistently for the last 6 months. The first few years, I was involved more in giving the presentations and making people listen to me for an hour and a half. Over the last few years, I've transitioned into more the organizing and logistics and the harder stuff. Our GDG, we kind of focus more on Android stuff. That's where most of our people have expressed interest. I'm very interested in kind of all the study jam stuff that you guys are talking about, because we've had a lot of newer people coming out recently who are very interested in wanting to learn more about Android. So I'd be definitely curious on kind of the lessons you guys have learned and what's worked, what hasn't, how you've kept people engaged, knowing that there is still going to be a fall off, but how do you keep them going all the way to the end?
I have to interject. I just realized who you were, Patrick. I've never seen your face. I've always just seen the little green Android icon.
Yep, that's me.
The best. So Bill, who used to be in Cincinnati, put together this Android specific chat, and I've really enjoyed stuff that you've posted for a very long time. So awesome. Thanks for that, Patrick. Nice to meet you face to face.
Yeah, likewise. And I will keep sharing them.
Sweet. So you meet on other topics too, but you're primarily Android focused, because I think Bill was Android. He was an Android guy too, right? Yeah,
Bill's an Android guy. The company that I own, we do mobile consulting, and I lead the Android practice there. So I've been doing that for 5 years now. I started somewhere between 1.6 and 2.0, so for a while.
Sweet. Well, that's fun. It's always good to hear what folks are up to. We apparently still have one viewer. Is that Ollie still? Dan doesn't know. He's on mute.
There's someone who might not have got the link.
It's either Ollie or Kyle. Both are on their phone. I'm guessing it's Kyle.
All right.
He's messaging me now.
Well, if Kyle has any update via Dan, we'll take a break and hear what that is.
He's typing.
Oh,
so Kyle's in Kansas City.
Uh-huh.
And, he's got this Google Fiber thing. So that's pretty sweet. This is my... Yeah, it's him. This is my intro.
Ooh, I like it. All right, we'll roleplay. Dan, you be Kyle for 2 minutes or less.
What?
You give Kyle's update, whether or not it's true.
It is true. It is Kyle. I've got another plane coming overhead. I'm in the flight path, apparently.
Uh-huh.
So Kyle has Google Fiber. He's cool like that. So if you need to torrent anything, just go to his house. They did a study jam. They're just starting doing some women tech maker stuff. I'm getting updates over here. Let's see. They hold their events in the Google Fiber space, which is right on the state line, but tremendously far away from an airport. It was a $60 taxi ride.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. So I think that's all I got on him.
All right.
I don't know if anyone finished his study jam or not. He stopped typing on me.
Nice, good. Hang up and drive, Kyle. Or at least stop typing and drive.
I don't know if he's driving. He was just on his phone. Look.
Oh, I see. Okay. Good. We'll assume he's on public transit. He's sitting on a bus somewhere.
No, because their public transit sucks, according to me.
Yeah, I know, right? Humor me. It's a Google Fiber auto car, self-driving car. All right, so that's pretty cool. So I just tossed a couple things on the agenda. If anybody has any things you want to add, go ahead and do that. Is anybody planning their upcoming Dev Fest? I know I'll give an update from Twin Cities. We've set our date as February 6th for our upcoming Dev Fest, and we're starting to work. I mean Patrick is doing a lot of work to get the Android app up and running, doing some kind of outreach for getting that set. we had I think we had 4 custom apps, Patrick, 5 custom apps for our last DevFest. It was a little bit absurd. Two web apps and one that didn't end up getting used, an Android app, and integrating many different things. So we're trying to be more planful on that. But this will be the 3rd year we're having it in the same space, which is we're trying to minimize as few kind of variables or things that are shifting for this year. My sense is the capacity of the main auditorium is 350, and we might, depending on how this launches, we might hit that. Or it might be, the other, I was talking with another guy who runs a mobile conference here in the Twin Cities. 300 is a pretty nice number just to run a conference. It's a pretty manageable, it's a good number to keep, to hold steady at. Just a couple thoughts I've had around that. Anybody else have their DevFest kind of in their sights or in the early planning phases?
Kyle is here now. So
Hey there, Kyle.
This in the introduction.
Oh, yeah, I heard part of the introduction, so thanks, Dan. Yes, I have Google Fiber, and it's awesome.
And the airport's forever away from your location.
Yeah, the airport is like way far away. But yeah, we did our study jam. We had 3 finish. By finish, they just presented. They didn't get their certificates. And we started with right around 40, so it was a huge drop-off every week. I think it was like everybody liked how it started out, but then it just like really ramped up in like how the content just became really advanced. So a lot of people, I guess, weren't expecting it to jump that fast. So yeah, that's why a lot of people dropped off from there. And then we also, as Dan I think mentioned, we're starting a Women Tech Maker series and going through getting that process going. So we got some cool stuff lined up. And then our I/O Extended was a huge hit too. We had 65 show up and over 100 RSVPs.
Nice.
So it was pretty awesome. Again, Google Fiber helped out with that, so so that was pretty fun. And then we are in the early planning stages of our DevFest. I know that's where you were leading up to next. So
yeah. What so with your Women Tech Maker event, what is that starting to look like? What is some structure, or what's the shape that's taking?
Well, it's still in the planning phases for that, but we are getting some other women's groups in the Kansas City area. Some speakers from there, like the WordPress users group, I know is going to provide a couple speakers. And then there's a group called KC WIT, Kansas City Women in Technology, and so it's a huge women's group for technology here in the Kansas City area, and they're also going to help with some speakers and advertising, and so we're getting that phase. We don't know exactly what content or the structure yet, but we're getting the word out that we are bringing the Women Tech Maker initiative here to Kansas City. So
that's great. And are you ramping up towards a single event or a recurring event, or?
Initially, it'll be a single event, but we will have ongoing side events with it because the GDG member was interested in becoming a Women Tech Maker lead, and she wants to have a lot of side events too. So there'll be like staying with the Women Tech Maker, getting more women interested in technology along with Google technology as well. So bringing them back into the GDG and stuff like that. So
it sounds great.
So yeah, so that's kind of where we're rolling with that right now.
And so you had a woman, a GDG member who's kind of taking on one of the lead roles in that. Is that?
Right. Yeah, she applied for the Woman Tech Maker lead, and we're still waiting to hear back because apparently there's a waiting period. So.
All right.
Yeah. So because Natalie Villalobos, she messaged her because we had set her up, created the Women Tech Maker page for Kansas City, and she did one post on it, and then Natalie came out and did a private post to her saying, "No more, we haven't approved you yet." So it was just kind of like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Weird. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So if you know of any way to speed that up.
Yeah, well, Dan will bring it up. Dan's the pot stirrer.
Yeah.
I guess we could talk to. Let's see. I got to email Adriana for shirt sizes, so I can bring that up in that.
Yeah.
We could email Melissa.
Yeah, I originally shot an email to Adriana, and I haven't heard back from her. And then Melissa, I think I also emailed her and haven't heard back from her, but Natalie was the one that noticed the community that got created. So, So maybe Natalie is the one who's actually paying attention to it?
I think it's more Adriana just probably gets so many emails in a day.
Yeah.
Like our gigantic list of spam. Oh crap, my batteries are running low. If I disappear, I'll be back.
There goes Dan. So Kyle, you said you're getting ready for your Dev Fest. Do you have dates or tentative dates on that?
We are looking at October right now because November and December are kind of booked up for everybody, and the only weekends that anybody really had that were looking free were around the holidays, and we don't really want to try to host an event around the holidays, so that's why we're backed up into October now.
Right.
Last year we held it in the beginning of December, and that was pretty successful as well. So.
And you had it was a one-day event.
Yes.
How many folks? This is your third or second one you had, right?
That was the first Dev Fest.
That was the first.
Our first year we didn't have a Dev Fest because just starting out,
right.
We kind of didn't know what was going on with that. So yeah, last year was our first Dev Fest, and so we're going a little bit bigger this time. It's still going to be a one-day event, but we're going to do multi-track at the same time, similar to the Michigan one, which I was there with David and Dan. Dan and I both spoke at the Michigan one, so that was a pretty fun event. So
sweet.
Thanks for coming. Yay.
But yeah, I really liked a lot of their style and how you guys did it. So bringing some of that back to Kansas City, having the multi-track going, like a Code Lab track with a Android track and a web track is kind of the idea we're thinking of. So we're getting a bigger venue because we typically hold our events at Google Fiber, but if we're going to do multi-track at the same time, their event space wouldn't be able to handle that.
Right.
So last year, we were able to do multi-track, but it was at the same time to where we did a web, then we did Android, then we did a web, then we did Android. So we kind of off and on with that, and Dan was there and spoke at that one too. So
I just made the rounds over the last year.
Uh-huh.
I've spoken at many a Dev Fest. And now there's out of an airplane.
Nice.
It's a horrible idea to be outside.
So, and we also have a Dev Fest in the works? David or Patrick Hammond? Or Marcus?
Not at the moment.
For me, I'm thinking if they do... I started rethinking my Dev Fest strategy yesterday. I I was going to try and do a big to-do again during DevFest season,
Uh-huh.
but I decided that's a horrible idea. For the pure reason of I won't be able to get quality speakers to come from like California or something because it's winter in Chicago. As I think we all know, no one wants to come out during the winter to the Midwest.
That's why you gotta book them now in the summer.
Oh, trust me, they hear, like, when they hear those months, they'll already block themselves and be like, nope.
No.
That has been like every time I've talked to a speaker or someone at Google. Oh, shit. Plane. Can you guys actually hear the plane?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Hey, it's Don Ward.
The Canadian among us.
And he's frozen. Maybe not.
It's only because after Canada Day that he joined us.
If he would have had Google Fiber.
Right?
Or Project 5, but he's Canadian.
Oh, Kyle, I just reminded you one thing about October. October in 22, 23 is the Big Android Barbecue. So if you're playing a DevFest, you might can make those days in mind. So you should not like, if you're members, you go there so you don't lose people.
That's a good catch. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're that was the other thing. We're meeting next Tuesday, the organizers, and we're gonna sit down for dinner and plan out the kind of what we're looking for, and then find a weekend and see what other things are going on. So that's a good idea. I didn't think about the Android barbecue. So thanks, Marcus.
That's a good catch. All right, so let's see. We had a mentor hangout last week, I think, and Martin apparently is in Sweden in a hammock, so we didn't hear any updates from Martin is what I meant to say, Martin. But Liz, the update from her was that basically they've burned through most of their budget. So any extra big things that may have been schemed upon are not likely going to happen. But they're still committing to $18 a head for events like DevFests or other large-scale events. So I think I don't know how other folks' events, but $18 in my opinion is great. That's plenty of budget to get a decent lunch and other swag as well, especially if you can find some sponsorship, event, space sponsoring or food sponsoring. You should be well set. So I think that the anticipation was that would be bad news, that it's only so much money, but after running the GDG for years and years with zero budget available, $18 is living large. Let's see.
One thing I learned that I'm just going to throw out there is if you have a big event, get a nice credit card that has good rewards. I think I got $35 at Best Buy, and I'm now an Elite Plus member.
Nice. And that's just from your IO Extended. Or no, your other, what's your
That's from my IO Extended, pretty much.
$35, can't complain. All right. So anything from this last I/O? I wasn't able to make it there. I think, was everyone else on the call at I/O?
Yep.
Am I the odd man out? No, Patrick Hammond, you're shaking your head. You weren't there.
My daughter's birthday is always right around I/O, so she takes precedence.
Yep.
That's understandable.
But I think everybody else, Don, I think was there, and David, did you make it out to
Yeah,
I/O?
it was good. It was good. Really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Any highlights we should be sure to bring back to our GDGs?
I'm sorry?
Oh, I'm just putting it out there. Any highlights that besides kind of the obvious ones? I don't know. Anything that people found would be especially useful to bring back to GDG meetings or meetups?
I have two things. One is like it's probably on people's radar, but I feel like Project Brillo, like the Internet of Things kind of thing. I think that's probably not something that we've been doing events around, and that's a new area that we could maybe move into. And then something that super much might have slipped underneath people's radar, which I think is cool, is if specifically for like Polymer, like web design or for Android material design stuff, you can email design@google.com, and they were encouraging people to do that, but subtly. It's something I haven't seen like on blog posts necessarily, but they've mentioned it like in talks, like email us. So that's a thing that you could maybe pass along to people, like if you know like people that run their own apps or whatnot, like send an email to design@google.com. Maybe they'll answer.
What would why were they asking for an email? Your app, like, because I know that's what they were doing at I/O, is reviewing your app and helping you make it material. Is that kind of the same? Email us saying we'll review it, or?
Yeah, that's the impression I got, and I don't want to say too much for people at Google, especially the designers. I'm sure they're all super busy. But like the fact that they said send us an email about your app, I thought that was noteworthy, and it's something that I didn't hear promoted a lot, which is probably, I mean, it makes sense. You don't want to like just throw that all over everything, then you'll get too much email and it won't be productive. But I got the impression that if I had an application and I was like, hey, I'm trying to implement material design principles, I could send them an email and be like, yeah, I love what you're doing. Here's this weird quandary. Like, I don't know exactly what to do here. Here are some of my thoughts. What do you think you do? I got the impression that I would maybe get a response. So that might be something interesting to pass by word of mouth.
That's cool.
I thought Project Expedition was something that might be worth a mention. I haven't heard. I signed up for it for my kid's school, but I haven't heard much more about it.
With the cardboard.
The cardboard.
Yeah, I thought that's a cool idea. I'm sure a lot of schools could take advantage of it. It's just a matter of I haven't heard a lot. I mean, aside from the sign-up page, I haven't heard a lot of whether it's gonna, how they're gonna roll it out. But it could be more. It's a general, of interest to people.
Yeah. And you signed up through your kid's school or for your kid's school?
I signed up for my kid's school.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right. So next on the agenda, I
added something on there for you, Lloyd.
Sorry, what?
Extended.
What's that?
I added the I/O extended thing on there for you. Because I'm sure there was some people here that did extended, and I'd love to hear how they went.
Patrick, you were at did you do an extended?
Yeah, we did. We had 15 people or 18 people come up. We streamed it in our office, ordered in lots of food, cookies, soda, beer. We had everyone. We had a 13-year-old that came with some of his family, and he was starting to really get into app development. We had a bunch of senior developers, a bunch of people just really curious and trying to get into it. It was a good mix. Everyone kind of had fun. It was nice to not do work for a few hours and just kind of sit back and relax and see all the cool stuff.
Right.
It was low effort, high return. A lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it's a great kind of event to host. Did anybody else host the extended?
I know we did one. I feel like ours was totally a cheat with the number-wise, though. When you host your I/O extended at Motorola Mobility, you tend to get a lot of people showing up. So we had like 250 people show up. Security actually told us to stop letting people in.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome.
So, but again, that happens when you host it in the headquarters of a gigantic phone company.
Right. Wow.
So, what I found funny was during that time that we had ours, they were also having their unbiased conscience training. So clearly people were choosing us over what I think was mandatory HR training.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh, nice.
So I was proud of that.
Uh-huh.
I felt a little embarrassed by the fact that they sent us cardboards that by the end of the keynote were out of date.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Especially when you're standing there telling Motorola people this will work with their phones. Which was what my co-organizer did. So
And it didn't work with their phones?
they sent you the last year's version, and all the Motorola people have Nexus 6s and Moto X's, which don't fit in last year's.
Oh, right.
But they were all nicely labeled IO15.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was the same exact cardboard from last year, just had IO15 on it. Same exact ones.
So did you guys get an updated version at IO proper?
Yes. We got version 2 at IO.
I see.
Yep.
So it's bigger, better, and Velcroed.
Velcro.
It is, and that's a big deal to me.
Didn't it originally have Velcro, or was it rubber bands?
It was like sticky tape on the original one.
Oh, okay. Because we were trying to get some cardboard for our Dev Fest, and so I ended up ordering like half a dozen different ones off of Alibaba, and they all were various degrees of Velcro and crap. Anyway, Kyle, so you guys ran it extended as well? Oh, you're on mute. There you go.
Yes. I was at I/O, so I wasn't there, but co-organizer, he ran it and had a great turnout. We had the cardboards, the books to make your app a success in the Play Store. Google Fiber was one of our sponsors as well, so they provided lunch as well as some swag. They bought the IO extended laptop stickers, from the swag list. So they bought a bunch of different swag from the IO extended swag list, and then they also had some of their own to give away. And then I don't know if you guys saw before IO, Frosty had a thing where he was trying to get a bunch of people to buy in for the extended batteries, to where they would do the IO extended on the batteries, and so we bought a bunch of those, and for the first so many people that showed up got one. So everybody loved all the gifts and everything, and
yeah,
it was funny. Like while I was at IO, I saw people from my IO extended posting about all the stuff that they were getting at our IO extended, and we even had some members who still are talking to us about it, how they loved how we brought it to Kansas City, and even though we had one for the past 2 years, it's just more people are hearing about it every year. And as I said earlier, we had over 100 people RSVP for it, so it was
pretty awesome. That's great.
Yeah, pretty good.
And then in our we did a follow-up for those who weren't at our IO extended. We did a follow-up event where we compared I/O and WWDC, so that way kind of showed both sides, and so that brought a lot of fun conversations because we do have a lot of Apple iOS developers and stuff that show up to our meetings as well. So they that brought along a lot of fun discussions.
Fun. Anybody else have I/O? I guess. Well, anybody else have I/O extended updates?
So I was there for the community or the GDG summit, right? And I didn't make it back in time to attend our extended, but apparently it was pretty well attended. Right, like so Google provided some money for food and things like that. So I think we gave away a lot of the cardboard things, so that was nice. And yeah, I think it was well attended. We had people from like some other places come. Think there were some people from like the Lansing area, which is like an hour away. So that was pretty cool. And I think what was it like? A lot of people came for the keynote and then like left afterwards. And then like not a lot of people attended like the second day of extended, but that I guess that's mostly to be expected. It's mostly developer oriented and everything's streamed, so
Right.
but I do think like the food that we provided, the swag was some pretty good incentive for people to come. And I mean like it's just a fun event to come and talk to other developers. Like the networking part is probably like the most I guess popular part of our meetups, so
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think the very first year they did extended, we tried to do both days extended here in Twin Cities, and the second day there were like 2 people who showed up. And since then we haven't done. None of our venues have stepped up to do the second day. We actually supported 3 venues this year. Last year we were planning on 2, and a third kind of popped up at the last minute. But we had one of our regular space sponsors hosted, and they had about 110 RSVPs, and we probably had, throughout the day, I bet we had 70 or so people show up, 70 to 80, and then actually at Patrick Frontis's work, they hosted another space as well, and I've yet to hear official numbers. I've just based on RSVPs and other numbers, big shrug of the shoulders. So we're going to go with 35 people showed up at the Nerdery for that. And then there's a space out in Fargo, North Dakota, which is right on the border of Minnesota and North Dakota. And they host a big mobile conference. And so that we collaborated with the folks who put that on and hosted an I/O extended there. And so I rolled all those numbers together and used the budget that we had for that to distribute the swag. We got the extended batteries and printed our own stickers and had some shirts made. And each venue had food. What did we get? A couple Moto 360s to each space. So it was great. It's nice, makes it a bigger event to have time for networking and visiting on that first day, and then some extra swag to kind of incentivize people to come. So it's super cool. Anybody else have I/O extended updates? For about 10 minutes to the hour, I want to respect folks' time. So I have on the agenda here the regional contact info sheet, which I've since learned, since I put that on the agenda and started working on this info sheet, on the contact sheet, that it's not the official sheet at all. The way for your contact, your organizer's contact information to be official through the Googles is to do like it's always been, where you link it, you link your Google Plus account off of the page, the registered Google Plus page for your GDG chapter, and that will, the machinery that already exists can pull a report that has people's contact information. So intermittently, the organizers or the folks kind of coordinating GDG North America will get an updated list of contact information. So I will use that. Dan and I are going to use that in the future for kind of invitations for upcoming North America, Midwest chapter events. So if you have shifting chapter coordinators, be sure and update your Google Plus page. Anything else you want to add to that, Dan?
Nope, I think that's pretty much it. If you need help updating, making sure the organizers get on the developer thing, let us know. Muting to the plane's going over.
All right.
Does that also get them in the mailing list, although? Do we know?
Oh, Dan, you went back on mute, Dan.
Thought I unmuted myself.
Well, you hit it twice.
I know Don had emailed me about getting on the mailing list. I know at the summit they had mentioned the automatic pull-in starting to put people on the mailing list, didn't they?
Yeah, I remember now.
So I'm wondering if we should just wait for that, because I don't think there's a whole lot that guy wants to go into his email, let's be honest, Don.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I'll wait. I've got a new organizer, so.
I think you've got him on developers.google.com though, right?
Yeah, he's on there. He's on my Google. He's on the Google Plus page, and.
Okay, then he's technically official in Google's eyes. So.
Okay.
That's a great feedback to have, and Dan, I think we should bring that back to the mentors meeting of the onboarding process. Kind of, there should be an internal check, for all of the different communications. Some of them are opt-in, like the different communities, but some, like the distribution lists, are not. And then, and then at a certain point, you tip over into crazy fire hose mode, which I swear happened about a year ago. All right, so we've got regional goals, and so this is a link to the goals that we set up at the North America Summit. And it's taken a while for me to update. Apparently I have too many windows trying to host this session. All right, so Midwest goals. Embrace using the community page for communications. I think that's going well. I don't think we have too many other side communications. So I'm just going to kind of breeze through these, and I'd be happy for anybody to jump in and give their thoughts. So I don't have to keep pausing too much. More frequent Google Hangouts. Voting on times to ensure the best participation. We did a kind of vote system last time, and that went pretty well, except that Dan and I messed it up. we got our schedule a little mixed up. We talked about doing like a doodle in the future, so I think for the next one we'll try and do more of a collaborative timing planning. This time we try to just get something on the books. It's the middle of summer. I didn't want to kind of burn a lot of cycles voting on when in the middle of summer and folks aren't usually around anyway. Hosting a larger regional event like a DevFest Midwest was something that got tossed around more at North America. And I might pause there and open that up for discussion. Has anybody thought more about that or have any ideas? Or now that it's kind of had a couple months to percolate and germinate or fester and die, any thoughts?
I'll offer up one thought. With the budget in the state that it's in, is that the best thing to do for this year?
Right.
So I'd rather see money go to small individual chapters as opposed to all of us trying to throw one. So that might be something for me and you to bring up to Martin and Liz, if the rest of the people agree.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely. I don't know what the reality of their budget is. If there were an additional Dev Fest, if it would get that. It's a whole nother cycle then of outreach and collaboration and sponsorship kind of agreements. So it'd be doable, but it does add to the complexity of that. Any other thoughts about a regional Dev Fest?
It seems like there are some like bigger type events, maybe more for like Apple developers or something. I don't know, like, or just like development in general, right? I know there's like a code mash type thing, like in the beginning of the year. I'm not too familiar with it, but it does seem like a lot of people like drive quite a few hours to attend that, and I guess if we did have like a regional one, we could have more pull to get maybe some of the bigger speakers and stuff. I know, like down in Texas, right? They have that like Android barbecue or something, and so like that draws a bunch of like, famous Google developers and stuff. So maybe we could have something like that, but closer to the Midwest region. That would be pretty cool, in my opinion. And also, like a lot of the cool stuff is in California, right? So just
Right.
bringing some more of that awesome stuff, like the bigger event with the bigger speakers, to our region.
What if we, Dan, what if we co-opted your summer Dev Fest and just made it a giant invite everybody event?
Well, if we did summer, it'd probably be next year, because let's be honest.
No, not this summer. This summer is for
Yeah.
scheduling, as far as I'm concerned, it's done.
We might need to move that goal next year.
Yeah, I'm scheduling, June of 2016.
Ditto.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Yeah, I think a big event would be awesome. To speak to the Code Mash there, I mean, Code Mash is a huge event. It's the biggest one in the Midwest right now for conferences for software development. This year they had 2,600 people show up, but it's massive. I don't know. I mean, I think you try and get a few cities that are close by. We try and get this thing somewhere centralized, where it wouldn't be too far for anyone to drive to. Maybe a decent thing to aim for.
Yeah. Where is CodeMash held?
CodeMash is held in Sandusky, Ohio, and basically it historically was a big Microsoft event. Microsoft's kind of stepped back a little bit. I mean, they still do a lot of support, and there's a big track in .NET, but usually they're running about anywhere from 10 to 15 tracks at one time, sessions at one time. They're not specific tracks. It's just a lot. They get about 700 speaker entries for about 100 speaking sessions, and they take over. It's called Kalahari Resorts. They take over that whole water park for a whole 3 days. It's a huge event. But they have a whole board that actually does it. It's grown from an 80-person event to last year was 2,600, and you couldn't actually stay on site. They had 3 other hotels involved.
Wow.
So yeah, it's quite the event.
Yeah. Huh. And it's in the middle. It's the first weekend of January, Dan. So that blows your whole Midwest draw.
Shit, maybe I got to do a Dev Fest this year.
No, man, I'm planning on Chicago in July 2016.
Or we could. I might throw in. I just got to talk to my co-organizers.
Yeah, that's all right.
That's really what it comes down to. We've got a venue figured out already if we want it.
All right, well, let's keep tossing the idea up. Yeah, I think that's a good point with a little bit more of a constrained budget from Google, although that's never well, that's not a primary reason not to do something. But keep floating that by other folks and see if anything kind of catches traction in people's imagination. I think that'd be cool. All right, what do we have? Try and collect and share metrics and impact of having hands-on events. Each GDG will try and have 2 to 3 hands-on events in the next year. That's interesting. So over the next year, and hands-on events, I think we talked about as code labs rather than a lean-back event where someone's up front talking, where everybody brings their laptop and they try and engage and they leave having done something. But we didn't come up with a consistent set of metrics around that. That'd be interesting. Anybody been doing more hands-on stuff? I know that Cincinnati's you guys do like every other week, basically. You have a hands-on, or was it every other month?
We do a few things. So most Wednesdays we meet up at like a restaurant or something. People can come out, ask questions, work through things, pontificate, find bugs, find testers, validate ideas. Just trying to build a community for that. And then about every 3 months or so, we'll pick one night and do a coding challenge. So recently, Bill's been the one doing it. Puts together a set of requirements for just a simple app. Hey, go out, do a network request, show it in a list, and then start doing fancy things on top of that. Just getting someone who might not have started doing Android before doing it, and then having people who can kind of referee and help. If they get stuck, helping unblock them really quick. So, and then at the end, you present, here's what I did, here's what worked, here's what didn't work. Is there a better way of doing this? So, it's kind of like
because you guys have been running that for a while, if there were to be some metrics around that about some sort of reportable or measurable impact from those sorts of events, is there anything that comes to mind?
There's a few things. One, people who come unprepared. There's always 3 people, who haven't installed IntelliJ, or I guess Android Studio now. People who come with machines that just want to pay for it. It's hard to get them going, so we try to pair them up with someone else who has a machine that can, actually do what they're doing. The people who complete the challenge, just kind of the basic level requirements, and then the people who complete the things beyond that really like to show off, and then the people who post their solutions to GitHub later. We really try to encourage everyone to, there's no ego, share what you've got, learn from everyone else. I've learned stuff from what other people have submitted. They've learned stuff from me. It's just a good way to share. So that's kind of the metrics that we try to minimize, the people who come unprepared and then try to maximize the sharing afterwards.
Yeah, I like that. So you said kind of getting people's environments set up, completing the challenge, and there was one kind of going beyond the challenge. How did you say that?
Yeah, so he had been setting it up in kind of different levels. It's if you've never done Android development before, here's some requirements that you should be able to accomplish in 2 hours. If you've been doing it for 5 years, here's this giant list of things to go ahead and try to complete.
Mm-hmm. Sweet.
So it kind of tailors that to everyone in the audience, so everyone can have fun.
And then GitHub share. That's great. I like those.
I'm going to jump on really quickly here before I get something and before time runs out.
Yeah.
So during our mentor hangout, we found out that we can apparently check out Chromebooks as GDGs. I don't know how much good we could use that for code labs, but there's that. So I don't know if Liz ever sent us that link or if she posted it to the document or what, but I should probably put that in the community as well.
Yeah, and I think Aaron talked about doing that for their Dev Fest, which was primarily for families. So they ran a coding lab, and they worked with the Chromebook team. He said they sent basically like a pallet's worth of Chromebooks in containers, and you're able to set up 50 some Chromebooks. You are responsible for them if you check them out. They're accounted for and then checked back in, so it's not that there's some skin in the game as far as that's concerned. But it sounds like a great resource. Yeah, we're almost 10 minutes over time. I think the other kind of updates was the Hack at Home event that happened a couple weeks ago. The Android Hack at Home was perceived as hugely successful. They had over 500 people who signed up and joined the Hangout call with Chet Hayes and his team, and they've that's gotten a lot of visibility within Google product teams, and so they're starting to ask the questions. They haven't announced anything, or they haven't really set anything firmly yet, but they're saying if another product were to do this, what are product teams that you might want to have one of these Hack at Home events? They're really seeing this as a great venue for kind of outreach and visibility of new product teams and new product launches. There's apparently a product that's seriously considering it, but we don't even know. The mentors didn't get any further details on that. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and I think as far as the hands-on, that's the most concrete I've heard. There's been a lot of discussion about the effectiveness of the study jams. I know that there's been huge positive sentiment is kind of my sense of the study jams. This is me kind of just supposing. I don't get the sense that the measurable participation numbers are as clear to Google as they might have thought. I think they might have been surprised at the amount of people who dropped off throughout the whole program. But it's a huge amount of work. I think I really like, Patrick, I like your metrics of it being a measurable success to have just gotten the environment set up. Because that's huge. I mean, that's not that's not to be discounted. And just because not everybody who came at the beginning of an event didn't publish a profitable app to the Play Store doesn't mean it was unsuccessful.
Yeah, getting past that first barrier of friction is an accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotten easier the last year or two, but it's still, if you can do that, then you've made progress. Right. That's a win.
And one thing about the study jams also, most of the people that didn't finish in time, they say they would try to watch the videos and try to finish it anyways. Or if we run another study jam in the future, they would be more likely to finish also. Like at least they got introduced to it and then it started it. And since the content is online, they can still watch and go back. They didn't finish during those 2 months time span, they still have the chance of going back there and doing it.
Yeah.
Along with what Marcus just said, we did have some people come up after, because going through ours, we did have a lot drop off, but we did have a lot of others that, hey, if you run another study jam on a different level with Android, because some of them wanted more of a beginner style, some of them wanted more of an advanced Android style, so if we did run another one, they were totally up for that. It was just the whole roller coaster with this study jam lost interest in a lot of people.
Sure.
Yeah, I hearing something I'm passionate about, and something I think that I'm hearing a theme running through the last few people talking, is that people like hands-on stuff. Smaller, more achievable goals are good, and multiple levels, like what Patrick was saying, like in Cincinnati they've been doing. be really successful. I think there's a lot of potential for us to create some content that we could pass back and forth between different GDG groups for a study jam, but like really bite-sized type. Not a long commitment, not a ton of material, but just like nice small wins that operate on different skill levels. I think there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah, that sounds good. That's good feedback. All right. Well, it's after 8 o'clock. It's which means it's probably 9:15 for a couple of you. Any other things to add before we sign off?
One thing, I would going through our reports. I know some of you haven't put in your IO extended numbers yet. Get those in. Patrick, I don't know if you know how to, or because I know you're relatively new in the organizer world.
Yeah, I think that one I missed. The other ones I should be caught up on.
I just wanted to throw that out there. I think most of you got it. I just wanted to. There's more than just Patrick. I don't remember who the other one is though. So I just know you're new in the org. So
I'll have that updated tonight.
All right.
Sweet. Well, it sounds like there's a lot of great stuff happening, and it's pretty fun to hear. I'm inspired to hit the next, I don't know, quarter. I don't think often in quarter terms, living in academia, but the next quarter of GDG I think looks to be pretty strong.
Cool.
So should we do this again? What is this? It's July. It's the 1st of July. Middle of August or September?
Sure.
Do it more frequently, less frequently? Both? Kyle's giving a big thumbs up.
Yeah.
Based on our goal, I'm going to say more frequently.
More frequently. All right.
And even if it's just one of us that can make it, I think it'd be
True.
good.
True.
Or if one of you guys just want to randomly throw a regional hangout, I'm okay.
Right. I mean, we could aim for once a month, and then if we fall short on one of them, we'll hit our twice a quarter.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah,
that sounds good.
Yeah, we could plan something and then have just everyone try to honestly respond whether or not they're going to make it, and if a lot of people say they can't make it, then cancel that one, and once a month is pretty ambitious.
Or I'll just show up anyways because I'll probably have nothing to do.
Because Dan's full-time job is being a GDG mentor?
That's kind of what my life has turned into.
So. Awesome. All right, everyone.
All right.
Bye.
Sounds good.
Have a good night.
See you soon.
Thanks. Yep. Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Happy 4th of July to everyone but Don.
He's already had his Canada Day.
I know. That's why I can't
Happy
help
Canada Day.
So,
Thanks, guys.
have a good weekend, everyone.
Bye.